Welcome back, everybody, to Success and Strategy, Real Talk with Heart-Centered Entrepreneurs. I'm your host and strategic bookkeeper and tax accountant, Amanda Stickle. And today I am joined with Kristi. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about who you are, your business, and what you've got going on.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you.
Oh.
So, I am a marketing strategist and consultant. I also go by the title of fractional CMO. So, I work with service-based business owners who have relied on referrals and word of mouth to build their business, and it's worked. They've been successful, but they know in order to get to that next level, they need to think more strategically about building a marketing plan. So, I help them do that and then figure out what's the execution going to look like. So, I don't execute the plan, but I help them figure out what does execution look like to get it done so that they can attract and convert more of their ideal clients. Currently in my business, what I have going on is I'm doing a live show that's getting repurposed into a podcast called Unfudge Your Marketing, where I talk with business owners about their past experiences because there are no shortage, unfortunately, of bad experiences with marketing. And so I love to kind of unpack that, talk through that with them, and really focus on the lessons that they've learned because I think that there's a lot for the listeners to gain through those shared experiences and lessons learned.
Yeah, and I've been watching that series on LinkedIn, and it's so like relatable. And even on the finance side, like I see it in a different way, but I see people's bad experiences on the financial side and then talking to them like there's nothing happening. Like, why are you paying this much when they're not doing anything?
Yes.
Um, so yeah, there's a lot of different experiences, and I think it's helpful to share it so if you know like you're not alone and there is an option for you that's not going to be junk.
Yes. Yes. And anyone who knows me knows that I'm like huge on like authenticity and
Yeah.
honesty. So like let's just put it all out on the table and talk about what went wrong for you and what you learned out of that, right? Because there's a learning opportunity in every situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
It's awesome. And even just following you, you can learn a lot from your free content too, which I think is like because you said you're honest and you're kind of like to the point, and I think that's what a lot of people like and need.
Yes. Wrapped in a hug, I like to say.
Yes,
Like I
yes,
give you the
wrapped in a
top
hug.
love,
Yeah.
wrapped in a hug. Yeah.
So kind of what you I mean, I know you're like the marketing guru. How do you say that?
Guru.
Guru. Guru.
I really don't like the word. I don't go by that, but yeah, expert.
Um, Expert. Okay, we'll go with that. So how, to you, what does success look like to you when you're doing all this marketing and that's you're helping other people with their marketing and really laying it out to you? What does success look like to you in your business?
Yeah, success in my business is, I think, similar to now. I don't know. It's funny. I didn't really think about it that much, but when you phrase it like success for my clients, um, I consider that success for me too. So my clients, I just had a client message me on LinkedIn this past week to share that a past acquaintance of hers reached out for coaching to learn about her coaching services because they've been following her LinkedIn content. And we work together on her content for LinkedIn, like her strategy and what are her content pillars, like who's her target audience and what are the topics that are going to resonate with them. And she's shared other small wins like that with me over just the past few months because we worked together earlier this year. And that's super rewarding for me. Like when my clients are realizing the benefit and getting that ROI of working with me on their marketing strategy, it's super rewarding. There's like no better feeling to me. And I would say the same holds true for me as well. Like when I do my own marketing and I get those inbound leads and I get referrals coming to me and I get people reaching out to me on LinkedIn and I get people scheduling, through my website, and when they fill out the form, I can tell they really did their homework on what I do and like why they want to work with me. It's hugely rewarding to me. And then at the end of the day, right, it's all about those financial goals and what I'm trying to do for my family and build, for the long term.
Yeah. I think that's so relatable because it's kind of like getting that confirmation that you are doing what you're meant to be doing because you're hearing back, you're getting that positive reinforcement, that positive feedback from your clients and being like, thank you so much for everything that you've done. Now I can have success in my business. It looks like this. And then that feels good to you, and that gives you more motivation to help others. And then you're also, taking your skills and putting it in practice in your own business. And then you're speaking directly to those ideal clients. So you don't have to, you're not getting as many no's, I guess, or like uncomfortable conversations because you're just reaching that ideal person, and it's like comfortable and it's positive and it builds that confidence too. I think that's amazing. That's a good way to measure success is yeah, I like that. And obviously the financial side too is definitely helpful.
I knew you'd like that piece of it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, it's funny because last year one of my goals for the year was to not work with any bad fit clients. And I think that that's really rewarding too when you can get to that place in your business where you feel very comfortable and confident saying no to the people that you don't want to work with for whatever reason, whether it's a bad personality fit or they just have unrealistic expectations of what they'd achieve by working with you, whatever it is, to be able to like stick to your gut and to know like this is a yes and this is a no, and I'm going to move forward in my business regardless. I think is really it's a fun place to be.
It is. And I think it kind of, I don't know about you, but for me, because I've had that same goal, it kind of is like a silly goal, but because it seems so simple to just say no to people, but it's such a journey and process to get to that point, mindset wise, and I think foundationally in our business to be able to know who we want to work with and to have that, like you said, confidence and like that backbone really to say, I'm sorry, we're not going to put a good fit, but here's this person you can work with instead who might be a better fit for you. And you're still
Yep.
helping them. So I think it kind of ties into that. So I think that's awesome. So, and that might be part of this next question, maybe, but what do you feel has made the most significant impact in getting your business to where it is today?
Such a great question. I think I would have to say leaning on others. And that comes with like a few different examples, right? So like getting to a place in my business, like I remember I just felt I was in one of those like places of desperation, right? Like as solopreneurs, I think we've all been there at least once or twice. Of like, oh my gosh, I lost clients. I don't have clients coming in. Like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna have to go get a job? And I really don't want to. Like, I want to make this work. And I was given the opportunity to decide if I was gonna work with a business coach. And I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna pay for this? Like, because I don't have the income coming in, but like also I feel like this is what I really need in my business. And so I took that leap and I did it. And it felt really scary at the time because I was like, I don't necessarily have the money coming in to support this, but in my gut, I guess I kind of knew that I needed an outsider's perspective. I needed someone to help me look at things differently, help me kind of navigate what does the future of my business look like, what's not working, how do I make it work so that I can bring in the money that I need to sustain and be successful. And so that's one example. Another example is right surrounding yourself with other business owners where you can share those experiences. I have a local networking group. I'm a part of like a small subset of that. We're all business owners and we get together twice a month and we can just share like what's working, what's not working, whether it's life or business, right? But just having those trusted people that you can go to and bounce ideas off of and just kind of get some validation, right? When the market is and the industry is like crazy and you're like, why is nobody buying? Like, and they're like, yeah, nobody's buying. I'm like, okay, it's not just me. Like, so I think that really leaning on others for different things in your business is what really makes the difference, I think, between staying stuck and helping you get to that next level.
Yeah, I honestly completely agree. The first half of my business journey, so about 5 years of my business, I tried to do everything myself and kind of just kept to myself. I'm very much a reserved person in general, but like it's like you didn't know who to talk to. Like I hadn't found my people yet, and I kind of didn't realize you had to talk about the bad in order to improve yourself and your business. And then I invested in a life/business coach. And again, I also had no idea how I was going to pay for it, but I just figured it out, and it made such an impact that I was able to get that return on investment through the growth in my mindset, in my business, and just in general. Um, and yeah, then I slowly started to find those business connections as well, where I found groups where I felt comfortable, because I think that's so important, is to feel comfortable in just being yourself and being able to be honest and share what's going on in your business, so you can get that real advice and tips and support and accountability. I think accountability is a large aspect of that too. Um, and yeah, not and knowing that you're not alone and you're not crazy. It's like, oh yeah, okay, everybody in this group is feeling the same way. That's awesome. And then you're just there for each other. I think that's so important. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a good tip, is to find a group. It might not always be that first group, but there's so many different business owners out there that have little communities that you could potentially join and have that support surrounding you. So
Yeah.
it's a huge part of business.
Yeah, and like you said, like it has to be the right fit. I mean, I think that's true for all things in business, right? Whether it's finding that group that that you need to support you and surround you, or hiring a service provider or whatever it is. There's so many options out there. You can find a good fit, but sometimes the process to find it might not necessarily be as straightforward and direct and quick as you might want it, but I would say like keep trying until you know that it's like, okay, this feels right.
Yeah. Business in general is a journey. There's lots of ups and downs and multiple
Twists
paths.
and turns.
Yeah. But you eventually get to a smoother path. So kind of switching gears slightly, how impactful has understanding your business finances been to your growth?
Yeah, I've had a funny relationship with my business finances. So, I for the longest time I was like, I just need to outsource my QuickBooks. Like I need to find someone to like to just do this for me. Like I hate going in there. I hate like so okay, I'll try not to make this a super long story. I ended up hiring someone who helped me get it cleaned up because I really had no idea what I was doing in QuickBooks. I'm pretty tech savvy, so I thought like I can do QuickBooks. It quickly became a mess and I did not know what I was doing. So I hired someone to like just one time like help me clean all this up and teach me what I'm supposed to be doing every month. So
Mhm.
that was like my first step in business finance. I was like, okay, I can't ignore this. Like I gotta wrap my arms around it, gotta understand it. Then I was like, for the longest time, I'm like, I just want to outsource it. Like I want someone else to just manage it for me, but I like didn't really have enough income coming in to justify like outsourcing something that I could do. And so I kind of had this like pulling, like nagging feeling, like I just want to outsource this. So I did at one point like outsource my invoicing. Like I had someone else doing that for me. Then they ended up going to get a full-time job, so they couldn't do it anymore. And I was like, I don't know. I have trust issues. Like I don't really trust people doing my invoicing. So like, fine, I'll just do it myself. And then I ended up having this kind of big epiphany at the end of last year that I had been resistant to hiring someone to help in more of a consulting capacity with my business finances because I just, for some reason, I thought I should be able to do it myself. But I always, every time there was something I wanted to invest in for my business, I just questioned, like, well, do I have enough money? Like, I mean, I see money in my account, but like, I'm going to have bills to pay. And like, I don't know, like, should I spend this? Should I not? And it was funny because I was in one of my networking groups, someone said like, well, you could go take this like online class that like teaches you about finances and stuff. I'm like, I don't need that. I have an MBA. Like I've done that work. Like I know the stuff. I know how to read the financial statements. It's that like someone telling me what to do. And as soon as I said it out loud, I was like, oh my God, that's why people hire me for marketing because they want someone to tell them what to do. So like, why am I sitting here thinking I should be able to do this for myself when people hire me to do the same thing for them on their marketing? It was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I ended up hiring someone who I meet with quarterly to like look at my finances and really sit down with me to be like, okay, well, like forecasting, I think was a big piece for me. Like that's the piece of like, okay, well, can I buy this thing this software, or can I hire this provider that I want to like with, because my business does fluctuate. I have some consistency, but not total consistency. And so having that expert to be like, okay, what clients do you have? Who do you think is coming in? Like, what does this look like? Okay, so it would make sense to, you'd be able to invest in this project at this time, or let's wait to do this. And so it's really been very transformative for me, both mindset around the money wise and just having that trusted expert.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And it's so common. It is, most small business owners can totally do their own bookkeeping. I think that's like the hold up is like, well, I can do this, but do I want to be, do I really know exactly what I'm doing? And then that, like what you said, like having somebody just to be there to kind of be like a sounding board, but also like reassurance, like, yes, you can do this because this is what it looks like.
Yes.
I love the way you said that because I was like, yeah, that makes complete sense. And it's like light bulb. It's just,
Yeah. When you're
it's
using
kind of,
the words that your clients use to hire you, it's like, oh, wait.
yeah. And it's kind of going back to what we were talking about before with having that community and like that support and leaning on other people. And it's the same thing, but different at the same time. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of that trust too. And it is scary because it's your numbers, it's your money, and money is such a like secret internal thing that like you're not
Yeah,
supposed
it's
to
really
talk about,
personal.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's important too, is finding again somebody that you trust and feel comfortable with. And it might not always be that first person that you meet with or try to work with. And I think that's important to why like the discovery calls or like consultations are important. And even like on the marketing side, like video content is important because you can really show your personality and like who you are as a person and help your audience kind of gauge whether that's the type of person they want to be working with or not. And
Hmm.
again, nothing against anybody, it's just energetics and personality. Everybody's got different personalities. Um,
Yeah. And I
yeah,
think something for me too with that was like, in my mind, I thought like I could only afford to probably hire someone to do my bookkeeping, but then it was like, but I can do that myself. What I can't do is make these bigger financial decisions. Like clearly I need help with that.
right.
And for me, I just thought like that's going to be super expensive to hire somebody in that way because all the things that I was looking at was like year-long packages and like big commitments. And so finally, like just through having those conversations, like I was able to find someone who's like, I can be flexible. Like if you don't need this like on a monthly basis, like we could meet quarterly. And it was like, oh, okay, well that feels like more realistic and doable for me. So to your point, like just exploring those options
Yeah.
and asking questions.
Yeah, everybody offers and works differently. So just finding what works best for you. There's no right or
Yeah.
wrong answer except for saying yes to the people that you know. Like you have again that gut feeling of like that's not right and still saying yes for it. So yeah, just trusting yourself and knowing what works best for you and how you work best too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of closing up, what financial advice or business strategy or marketing advice would you give to other heart-centered entrepreneurs looking to grow their business?
Yes, if I can give marketing advice, it'd be hard
Yeah,
not to, if that's
go
okay.
for it.
I so often, right, like going back to my show on Fudge Your Marketing, the reason I started that was because I've just heard so many stories about business owners who wasted money or worked with people who didn't do what they said they were going to do or did stuff, but it wasn't what the business owner thought it would be. Like there's just so many stories like that. And I think a lot of times a lot of the common themes that I hear from those business owners are trusting your gut. That comes up like almost every conversation I have is like really trusting your gut is one, and really like making sure that you have that underlying strategy in place because a lot of times business owners think, well, I could just go do Facebook ads or I'm just going to go, do this one specific narrow tactic. And when it's not taken into consideration within the larger context of your entire marketing plan, I think 95% of the time you're not going to get the results that you want from it because you really need to know how are you getting out in front of people? How are you getting their names and email addresses? How are you staying in touch with them through things like email marketing and how are you closing that deal at the end of the day? And that's the advice that I would give to business owners is if you're someone who has struggled with marketing or feeling like your marketing efforts aren't paying off or you've wasted a whole bunch of money, I would look really I would look inside to say, okay, well, did I actually get a strategic plan or did I just go after one specific thing thinking it was going to solve all my problems? That would be my advice, just because I've seen so many business owners waste a lot of time and money and energy on things that didn't work.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And I think because social media is such a key aspect to many businesses now, I think it's hard because I think people pick up random things across social media and see what other people are doing and seeing it work for them. And they're like, I need to do that. And then they just take what they think they are doing and try to implement it themselves instead of, like you said, having that plan and having it actually be strategic and in alignment with everything else that they're doing in their marketing. And it's just going to flop and then they'll feel discouraged. And it's just kind of like a cycle when you don't have that expert in your corner and just being that support system and creating a logical strategic marketing plan. um it can be hard to not have those things. So yeah, even if you're taking free like, I think, do you still do workshops or not really anymore?
I have a masterclass replay that
Yeah.
people can find on my website under the resources tab. Yeah. So it's a great 20-minute, like, okay, here's how you create a strategic marketing plan for your business.
Yeah. So if you're not ready to make that investment off the bat, you could start small and be like, oh yeah, Kristi is the person that I need to be working with because she knows what she's talking about, and this is what I need. That can lead you into it. So yeah, that's a great. So I guess, where can people find that and where can they connect with
Yes.
you?
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me at KristiMitchell.com. It's KristiMitchell.com. I have a whole resources tab. So if you just click on that, you'll see that masterclass replay. There's a fun quiz you can take if you like Schitt's Creek and you want to know how that relates to your marketing. There's that. There's a free resource library. You can also find my podcast on there. So yeah, there's lots of great information that can at least get you thinking and get you some starting tips on how to approach your marketing differently.
Awesome. And I'll link those things in the bio, the description too, so that way people don't screw up anything. And do you want me to link your LinkedIn? Is that where you're most active?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I
Okay.
was going to say that too. Yeah, definitely find me on LinkedIn. I always say I live there for better or for worse. I'm on LinkedIn all the time, so you can find me there. Send me a message. Let me know you heard about me through Amanda. I always like to know how people heard about me. And yeah, I would love to connect.
Awesome. And Kristi's very easy to talk to, as you can tell. She's amazing.
Oh, thanks. You're so sweet.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Kristi, and thank you all for watching. And hopefully you found these stories insightful and impactful and relatable, honestly. I think it's important to know that we aren't alone, and it's helpful to hear little tips and advice from other business owners, even though we may have heard them through like our Google searches. I think it's important to hear the stories behind our tips about why we're suggesting these things and that it's from real people and real experiences. If you'd like to be a guest on the next episode, feel free to reach out to me. And again, feel free to reach out to Kristi. We'd both be happy to chat with you about your marketing or financial needs or being, again, a guest. So thank you again for joining us for Success and Strategy, Real Talk with Heart-Centered Entrepreneurs. Until next time.